So we're going to dig into the latest financial report from America's biggest mall owner, Simon Property Group. And what's inside? Well, it completely flips the script on the idea that the American mall is dead. Let's see exactly how they're doing it.
You've heard the story a million times, right? E-commerce is king, and the classic American shopping mall is going the way of the dinosaur. It's supposed to be this relic, a ghost of retail's past.
But here's the thing that makes you go, if the mall is really dead, how on earth did the biggest player in the game just pull off a record-breaking year? That's the puzzle we're gonna unpack. Okay, let's get right into the numbers, because Simon's latest report, wow, it doesn't just suggest they're surviving, it shows they are absolutely thriving. But to really get it, there's one key term you gotta know.
And that metric is FFO, or funds from operations. Look, in the real estate world, this is the number that really matters. You can forget about traditional net income for a sec. FFO is the truest measure of a property company's cash flow. It's basically their profit.
So what was their FFO for 2025? Get this, a record-shattering $4.8 billion. And to put that in perspective, this isn't just a good number, it's a sign of incredible financial strength. I mean, that is a massive amount of cash being generated by these properties everyone says are dying.
And it's not just about the money, right? It's about demand. Their occupancy rate is sitting at a staggering 96.4%. I mean, think about that. In an industry that's supposedly falling apart, their spaces are practically full. A spot in a Simon Mall is clearly a hot commodity.
So just how in demand is that space? Well, in 2025 alone, they signed leases for 17 million square feet. That's like 300 football fields worth of space. So retailers aren't running for the hills. No way. They're actually lining up to get in.
So how are they pulling this off? This isn't just luck. It is a very, very deliberate strategy to completely reinvent what a mall is for the modern age.
And the core idea behind it is simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Simon isn't just some passive landlord sitting back and collecting rent checks. No, they are an active developer, pouring millions into reimagining what a mall can even be. Their CEO, David Simon, gave this perfect example, the Southdale Center. A few years ago, it was what you'd call a C-grade mall, kind of struggling. But after they invested in a major redevelopment, brought in new, high-end stores, they transformed it into a thriving A-grade destination. This is literally their playbook in action.
And the Southdale story isn't some one-hit wonder, It's all part of a bigger, three-pronged approach they use everywhere. 1, acquire great properties. 2, redevelop the ones they have. And 3, add things like hotels, restaurants, and apartments. They're not just building shopping centers, they're creating entire community hubs.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and record profits. Despite all this momentum, the company is staring down some pretty significant headwinds that are putting pressure on the whole retail industry.
On their recent earnings call, the CEO himself pointed to the big one, economic tariffs. Now, this doesn't hit Simon directly, but it squeezes their tenants, the retailers. And when your tenants start feeling the pinch, eventually that's going to become your problem too.
So you've got this real push and pull happening. On one side, you have these negative forces, the tariffs, the risk of stores going bankrupt, higher interest rates. But on the other side, you've got all that positive momentum we just talked about. Retailers are eager to lease space, foot traffic is up, and they have a pipeline full of exciting redevelopments.
So the million-dollar question is, how does the leadership plan to navigate all this? Well, their game plan is kind of genius and definitely opportunistic.
Now, this is going to sound completely backward, right? But here's the strategy. When a weaker tenant who's paying low rent goes out of business, Simon doesn't see a crisis. They see a golden opportunity to bring in a stronger retailer who's going to pay a whole lot more.
And get this, the CEO, David Simon, he literally broke down the math for everyone using the recent Saks Off Fifth bankruptcy. The old stores were paying them about $18 million in rent. He figures they can release just half of that space for $30 million, leaving the other half as just pure profitable upside.
From their point of view, when a tenant leaves, it's just a chance to upgrade. As the CEO said, they can replace these less productive stores with much more productive ones and charge them higher rent. It's a pretty ruthless but incredibly effective form of retail evolution. So when you step back and look at the big picture, what does this all mean? Simon Property's success isn't just about one company. It really points to a huge shift in retail itself. And it leaves us with this big question to think about.
Maybe the future of retail isn't just about shopping anymore. Maybe it's about creating something e-commerce can never, ever replicate, a true destination.